Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Chaz Kayato, and the topic of discussion for today is hiring an editor for your dissertation. So this will be possibly a multi-part episode or just a multi-part conversation because I've only recently started working with an editor, and so I don't have the full scope of how working with an editor affects the dissertation process, but I wanted to give some insight into what has helped so far and give some insight for those that are considering working with an editor. So at American College of Education, it's actually a requirement for your dissertation to hire an editor, and you have to have proof that you've hired this editor, so that way the school knows that you've actually done it versus just saying, oh yeah, someone has edited this paper. So we've already talked about tutor.com, but tutor.com cannot count as the editor. Tutor.com does have the benefit of helping you make sure you have structural integrity for your paper, making sure APA citations are correct, but that's essentially the extent that you're going to get with tutor.com. The role of the editor is to make sure that your dissertation is ready for publication. Okay, so it's a little bit more all-encompassing. So let me explain so far my process. So even though the editor isn't required until you get to the final chapter of the dissertation, there's no reason why you can't start working with an editor earlier, because it just means you have less work to do when you get towards the end. So I did some research. I looked up information about several different editors, and I found one that specifically worked with students from ACE. And so that was important to me because it meant that they understood what American College of Education was looking for in terms of writing a dissertation. And so I wanted someone that knew the ins and outs of that process. And so I found one, and I contacted her, and I got a response very quickly. So it didn't take. I think I might have emailed on a Friday and heard back on a Monday. Either way, it wasn't very long. So in that process, I sent my concept paper, and I said, this is what I've done in the past. Obviously, I'm working on revisions, and I sent what I had revised up to that point. And I got a response back pretty quickly about all of these changes that I needed to make. And it really helped out because there were, especially coming off of the concept paper, there were a lot of things that the concept paper that could have been done better. I'll just put it that way. And so this really helped kind of narrow what I needed to do with some of the later parts of my paper. There was also some some things that got through the cracks of tutor.com that she helped point out. There were some ways to rearrange my paragraphs to make them easier to read. There were a lot of things that she was able to do that made my paper better. Okay, so in that sense, it really made me feel good because I knew, okay, I kind of have an advocate for me, not necessarily to help me with any of my dissertation chair, my teacher of record, but just an advocate to let me know, like, hey, you're on the right path. And so one of the things with these classes is they're only 10 weeks long, and it's a lot of hurry up and wait, where you write something, you send it in, you have to wait maybe up to 5 days. I know some people have told horror stories of longer than that, but for the most part, 5 days. You get it back, and you hope that you get the green check mark to go on, so that way you can start working on the next section. But if you don't get the green check mark, if you have to redo something, you have to revise it. That may take a few days. Then you resubmit it. Then you're waiting another few days, maybe up to 5 days. And so that whole part of this process scares me, and did scare me. So having someone that can look at your paper as you go was or is what is something I think is beneficial. And so this means that someone will be able to double check and say, hey, we need to move things around. And hopefully what that means is every time I have something to turn in, I get that green check mark the very first time. And so I'm finishing these classes on time and not having to retake any classes. And that's something when I originally met with my dissertation chair, that was one thing that I said from the very beginning. I said, tell me what I need to do to pass all these classes the first time, because if you're essentially every class is setting you back 3 months if you have to retake it, and so that's just not something that I want to have to retake a class 1 or 2 times. And I know because we have the group me's with our cohort, I know people are coming and going. We've probably had between people preparing for the concept course, in the concept course, and then the research and methodology, we've had people drop off every course because not getting things done in time or just not being prepared for the workload. And so I don't want to be in that number. And maybe I am one day, but hopefully not. And so the idea is that we get everything done on time, and so that way I'm ready to finish a class before that 10 weeks is up, and then get started, get prepared for that next class. Because even though you do have some breaks in between, at least from my understanding, you should really still be using those breaks to get prepared for that next class, because once again, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. And so as I saw at the beginning of my research class, nothing was even done for an entire week just because I was waiting to get alignment tables all sorted out. And so the more you can have prepared when you get into a class, the better. So working with an editor can help that, and it helps you feel better as well, knowing that you have someone to work with that that can help you get through that process. Now, they're not free. They do have a cost to them. I can't speak for every editor. I know that the one that I'm working with, and I'm going off of numbers that were given me before. I'm not remembering completely correctly, but each chapter is $250 to edit, and unless you do it all on the back end, then I think it's like $700 or $800 to just do it in one straight shot. To me, it was worth paying that extra $400, $500, $600, whatever it was, to have the help along the way, because once again, less work at the very end, and it just makes me feel like I'm going to get through the courses on time having that help. So I highly recommend working with that editor earlier than all the way at the end in chapter 5. You have to have an editor regardless. So you probably, even if you don't want to pay for an editor prior to the last chapter, you need to start doing your research at least sometime in chapter 4 in preparation for getting that editor, because you might be putting yourself behind if you wait. So that is my recommendation, to try to work with an editor earlier, and that is my experience so far. I'll probably give another update when I'm in the research portion of the course, and then hopefully after I have finished the course and finished with my dissertation. So thank you for watching this video, and have a great day.